I'll tell you what, I'm recording it and I can send it to you when I'm finished.
Yes, that's much better. Thank you very much.
No problem. I believe Umank is having some technical difficulty. She's tried to join twice now and she's not able to get in. So she's attempting again right now as we speak.
Connection.
Hello. Cái này
Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Lieutenant Colonel Adam Hallmark, the Public Affairs Officer for the 25th Infantry Division at the Schofield Barracks, Hawaii. Currently, we've got about 5,500 soldiers here on the ground at Fort Polk, Louisiana, executing a joint readiness training center exercise. We've been here now for a little over a week as far as the exercise is concerned, but we've actually had troops on the ground for a couple of weeks prior to that. And so we've got about 2 weeks left of this exercise. I would ask, if you're not speaking, if you can mute your microphones, because it does provide a little bit of feedback across other computers. So joining us here this morning to speak to both you, Edna and Himinka, is Major General James Gerard. He is the Commanding General of the 25th Infantry Division in U.S. Army Hawaii. He is the 52nd Commanding General of the division. He took command almost a year ago, early November of 2019. And then joining him also this morning will be Captain Chris Candelaria with the 5th Security Force Assistance Brigade out of Joint Base Lewis McChord in Washington State, as well as his counterpart in the Indonesian Army, First Lieutenant Wilhelmus Raditya. They were on the net here just a moment ago. They dropped off. They had some Wi-Fi issues that's being sorted on the other end. So I anticipate that they'll be coming back up on the net here momentarily. I see Himinka just dropped off the net again, so I will anticipate that she'll be trying to come back into the room as well. But at this time, because we do need to press, because the Commanding General does have a schedule to keep, we're going to go ahead and continue on. And so I'm gonna get up now, and he's gonna come over and sit down, and then he'll say some introductory remarks, and then Edna, since you're on the net right now, we'll turn it over to you to ask questions, and then as the other two parties come back up on the line, then they will be available as well. Okay, I see the distant end now trying to rejoin. Okay, we got Captain Candelaria back up on the net. I see him.
Sir, do you have me?
Yep, I've got you.
We're back up.
Yep, you go ahead and mute your mic, please.
Mute it.
Yeah, mute it for now. Yep. All right, I'm going to get up now. I'm going to turn this over to the Commanding General.
Let's get back in.
There was not, sir. Chris is back on camera.
Edna, good morning. I think it's good evening, your time there, but very nice to meet you virtually, and we look forward to having a discussion, and hopefully we can answer all your questions this morning. But since introductions have been made, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you to start asking any questions.
Okay, thank you very much, General. I would like to ask, this is not the first time for Indonesian Army to have a training in the Joint Readiness Training Center, right? But this is the biggest one. So do you have any comment on that? I mean, is this a new thing, but is this going to benefit each other?
Thank you for your, yes, thank you for your question. And I absolutely think it will benefit both organizations, both your Army and our Army. Every time that we have an opportunity to train, especially here at the Joint Readiness Training Center, we are going to build readiness. And we get better every time we come here. And I know that your Army, the Indonesian Army that's here with us, will absolutely get better as well. And the great thing about this training event is not only will we both of us individually get better, because we will be challenged with problems that we don't normally see. It's as close to a real world combat situation as we can get in training. But every time that we train together, we also learn from each other. And so I know that we will learn from the Indonesian Army. I hope that the Indonesian Army learns from us, and our partnership will be even stronger after this is over than it was before it started.
So, can you give me I mean, kind of example of story about the scenario of this training? I mean, between the, because I think there are lots of scenario you have, but I mean, specifically for the Indonesian Army, is it a joint one or the Indonesian Army trained by them? I mean, only by themselves?
Yes, thank you. So it is, we incorporate the Indonesian Army into one of our infantry battalions. And so they are a part of our force and they do everything that we do. They have the same scenario that we do. And we create a fictitious scenario so that we can, because we only have a limited amount of time. We only have about 2 weeks for the exercise. So we create a scenario where we have to conduct a deployment to a country that has asked for our assistance. And so we deploy to that country. We immediately start working with the host nation, civil affairs or civil leadership as well as the military leadership. So we conduct a joint force entry into that location, and then we have to conduct a defensive operation, and then we transition to an offensive operation. And the Indonesian Army is working right alongside their American counterparts. So in this instance, we have a infantry battalion that normally has 3 maneuver battalions, or I'm sorry, 3 maneuver companies. Now with the Indonesian company, they have a 4th maneuver company to operate right alongside their American partners. So it's a great experience for all of us.
Yeah. So this is I would like to imagine the scanner, because it's hard for me not to watch it by in reality, right? But is it kind of a counterinsurgency operation or something else?
So it's all of that. So it's initially after the joint force entry, we do a couple of days of counterinsurgency type of operations. Then we transition to a conventional defense where the adversary pushes some conventional forces, which include armor and mechanized vehicles, against our defense. And then we transition to once we stop them with our defense, we transition to an attack where we attack them. And so it is part of a large scale combat operations scenario.
Wow, very wide range, right?
It is.
Yeah, and as I learned, the U.S. Army have a quite a specific approach in counterinsurgency operation. You have this what you call the human terrain, right? And as you say previously, the army have to deal with the local authorities, and I think they also have to deal with the local communities and have to match with the culture, that kind of things, right?
Absolutely. And we have, the Army has done that. That has been our focus over the last 2 decades, ever since 9/11. That has been the focus of the Army. And previous to the last couple of years, that has been the entire scenario here at the Joint Readiness Training Center. But because we now are realized that the skills that we had with large-scale operations has atrophied, we understand that we need to go back and retrain some of those skills that will be required in case we do have to fight a peer competitor somewhere around the world. And so that is why we have transitioned now. So just a small part for counterinsurgency and more with large-scale combat operation focus.
I see. But as far as I know, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Indonesian armed forces and the US armed forces, especially the armies, have a different strategic culture, right? And because of that, we also have differences in tactical and technical and all these things. I mean, what your assess on that? I mean, the difference will give maybe opportunity to to cooperate, but also difficulties in operating together, right? I mean, so what is the plus minus of these differences?
A very good question, and I'll start off by answering it at my level, and then I'll turn it over to Chris and Wilhelm and see if they have other thoughts on this. But the great benefit of coming to the Joint Readiness Training Center is, as I discussed earlier, is the realistic. We get as close to a real combat situation as possible, and that's very difficult. That's a very difficult environment to create, but it creates a lot of stress. It creates a lot of challenges, and that stress and those challenges impact the things that are consistent across. It doesn't matter what we're doing in combat. We still have to plan. We still have to rehearse. The execution is different, whether it's counterinsurgency or a defense or an attack, but we still have to resupply ourselves, the logistics scenario. We still have to bring all the capabilities together to achieve success. So all of those things are the same no matter what we're trying to do. And so while our cultures are different, the United States, does not ever believe, according to our senior leadership, that we will ever fight a major war again by ourselves. We're going to have to fight it with our partners and our allies. And so every time we get the opportunity to do something realistic like this with our partners and allies, it helps us to understand them better. It helps them to understand us better. And that interoperability, even at a low level right now, will continue to help all of us if we ever have to do this for real. And I'll pass it over to Chris and Wilhelm and see if they have anything else to add at their level. Go ahead, Chris.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So first, I'd like to start out, ma'am, by saying I understand that we've been working with the Indonesian forces for a little over 70 years now, and we are honored to continue that tradition. While training here with the TNI in Indonesia in preparation for the JRTC rotation, we've learned a lot from the Indonesian, the TNI 80 that we're partnered with. We also hope that they have learned from us some of our unique insights into our doctrine, our tactics, and our procedures and how we operate. One of the questions I believe you asked was some of the differences or the pluses or minuses of what we've encountered. The TNI are great at tactics. Watching them maneuver so far here in the box against our enemy force has been a joy to watch, and we are picking up a lot of good things on how they communicate with hand and arm signals at the ground level, as well as the way that they fight in the spirit of their chakra. One of the things that I think that's kind of the issue right now that we're working through is our radio communications. So our radios don't really work with theirs right now, but we are working on that. And those are just some of the things that we have seen so far on the ground as we continue our JRTC rotation.
Okay, thank you very much. General, I have another question. I mean, in this kind of modern warfare, we understand that we face, I mean, a wide range of weapons and I mean, weapons and all these tactical needs and gears, of course, right? I mean, I think that the problem with the Indonesian army that we haven't go through to the more like cyber security and all this network centric warfare. But do you have any training on this area also in this session?
Thank you for the question. And yes, we do. And we do incorporate cyber security operations here, some other electronic warfare capabilities here. That is another benefit of coming to the Joint Readiness Training Center, where we are able to train all of those capabilities, some better than others. Some we'd like a little bit more, but we are able to do some of that. And it also highlights the benefit of partnerships, because some of the things that we may be good at, the Indonesian Army may not be good at. And so we can use our strengths to mitigate their weaknesses. And then some of the things that we may not be good at, the Indonesian Army may be good at. And so they understand the culture around the Pacific region probably better than we do. And so that is another benefit of partnering together, is being able to use each other's strengths to help each other's weaknesses, so that we're much better together than we would be by ourselves.
So in this, you already have been training for a couple of days, I think. And do you have any comment or evaluation on that range of time? Because in Indonesia, we're really glad that the Indonesian soldiers can train outside. I mean, we want them to become more professionally in terms of combat. I mean, as a military forces, right? But we would like to know what's your evaluation on the, I mean, on the couple of days after you train together.
It's I am very proud of the Indonesian company that's been here. They have done an excellent job. I was able to sit in their first, after different parts of the exercise, we conduct what we call after action reviews. So we'll stop, we'll pause, we'll take a look at everything that we did and the lessons, try to understand the lessons that we learned. So I was able to sit in their first after action review at the company level, and with Chris and Wilhelm and their team, and very, very proud of all that they've done so far. Just like I told them, I came to JRTs. The last time I was here as a training audience, I was a company commander, so a long time ago. And I had many challenges, and some of those I did okay, some of those I didn't do okay. And I learned an awful lot at that time, which has helped me over the years. And so I know that they are facing challenges. Some of those they're working through and being successful. Some of them they're not, just like every other company here within the 2nd Brigade. And so they've got a great attitude, they've got a great warrior spirit, and they're doing an awesome job. And I'll pass it over to Chris and let him give you a little bit more from his perspective. Go ahead, Chris.
Yes, sir. So again, just to add on, the warrior spirit is there. They're very skilled and a very dedicated Army. Working with them, just to give you a general overview of what we've done so far, we conducted an air assault at night a few nights ago, where we had to link in together with the whole company on the ground under nods, and then move to an objective that was over 2 kilometers long, and they did it flawlessly. Me and my team, embedded with the TNI, saw lots of great things as we maneuvered through, all the way into where we had to establish a defense to help fight that adversary off. Again, the TNI, we're learning a lot from them, and hopefully they are learning from us as well as we continue to build this partnership.
General, I would like to know your personal opinion. I mean, you are a professional military officer, right? And you have many field experience. Do you think that a training in a situation when I read in your website that it's a very providing highly realistic and stressful environment, is it how does it contribute to military or officer professionalism? I mean, because of course the United States have lots of combat going on all over the world, right? But not many countries have that kind of situation. But as a professional, I mean, you have a very wide experience on this. How does it contribute? I mean, specifically to, I don't know, maybe moral or or intuition, or what? I mean, what kind of things that cannot be replaced by any other training?
Well, thank you. And another very good question. And we just completed our, about halfway through the exercise, we stop and for a long time and do a more formal after action review. And we did those yesterday. And so as I was listening to all of the comments at the company level and the battalion level and the brigade level, I think my answer will get to your question. And the thing that JRTC, the Joint Readiness Training Center, does is because it creates so much stress, so many different challenges, you don't have enough time to work through all the solutions. That one of the benefits that, and soldiers are at all levels, from the brigade commander on down, are not getting because the military forces are always attacking and probing, so they're not getting enough sleep, so they get tired. They're not eating. They're only eat when they can, and so they're tired. They're hungry. They get all of that stress and challenge compounds, and so it really helps each of the individual leaders understand their own personal strengths and weaknesses. And that is it's a situation that is hard to replicate, and only our most difficult schools, our U.S. Army Ranger School is one, are able to take individuals to that place, and where they really are challenged personally, and so they understand their own personal strengths and weaknesses. They understand the soldiers around them, their strengths and weaknesses, and so all of that helps each one of us understand ourselves and our strengths and our weaknesses when it comes to leadership ability, and how we deal with our soldiers and our superiors when we are stressed and under difficult circumstances. So that is one of the significant benefits of the Joint Readiness Training Center in the 2 or 3 weeks that we're here.
Okay, thank you very much. Very, very interesting. I mean, I begin to have more understanding and imagination on what are the things going on. But I have one more question left, but maybe Miss Icha would like to ask question too, because yours seems to be on and off. Yeah.
Yes, so welcome. And I'm sorry we had technology issues earlier, but we've been going through some questions, and you're welcome. We're also recording this, and Lieutenant Colonel Hallmark will be glad to email you the video once we're through, so you have all the rest of the discussion.
Thank you so much, General. I'm sorry for the trouble. I would like to ask you, General, maybe some question Edna already asked to you, so maybe I only have some left. Like, I would like to ask you, like, how the coronavirus pandemic affected your training. I mean, the JRTC training with the KNI and maybe other allies.
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you for your question, and it's a good one. And so we have taken precautionary measures to make sure that we are able to train in a COVID environment without risk to the soldiers, and which so far we've been successful. We've experienced this over the last 9 months, like everybody else around the world. We've been training through that time period, and some of it in large-scale exercises there in Hawaii. But before we came over here, we tested all of our soldiers. There were a small number, I think around 20 or so out of the 5,000 that did test positive. So we quarantined them and did not let them travel. So we tested everybody before we came. And once we got here, we have created a bubble so that we have stayed pretty much. There are a few that very closely monitored individuals that break that bubble, but we are able to keep everybody together and not let a lot of other people inside that bubble, so that we can remain COVID-free throughout the exercise. And so far we've been very successful. Our Indonesian Army brothers, they were able to take a charter flight here and then quarantine. And so they have also been very successful exercising in a COVID environment. We continue throughout the rotation to do random testing. And we have also had, I'm not sure the exact number, but a small number of individuals that presented symptoms of some sort or another, about 5, that were tested, and all of those have been negative. And so we are doing a very good job throughout. And that's one of the reasons that we are all separated this morning, as opposed to sitting together in front of one camera screen so that we don't have to wear masks. But when we are together, we all practice wearing masks and work to maintain social distancing as best we can. So overall, very, very successful.
Okay. Second question, as you said that Joint Readiness Training Center is like focused on like improve by providing realistic training, yeah. So I would like to ask you, do you have like simulation? For example, I read that when you when the U.S. Army doing operation in Iraq, so you make simulation in the village in the port walk. So do you also do the same thing as well? Maybe the simulation regarding the training.
So we are able to replicate through simulations and almost every capability that we have in our inventory in the U.S. Army to allow us to exercise all of those capabilities here at the Joint Readiness Training Center. So while it is a force on force, which means we don't use live ammunition, obviously, but we use blank, but we have equipment that allows us to identify who is, when we shoot it at others with our blank ammunition, who is, it's kind of like laser tag. So who is dead, who is alive, who is injured. We have artillery simulations, so we can exercise our mortars and artillery. We exercise our air aviation, whether it's our Army aviation, rotary wing aviation, or it's our Air Force that are dropping bombs. So all of those, we do use simulations here so that we can create as realistic as possible environment for our soldiers so they understand all of the hazards of war and can take appropriate action when they need to.
I was wondering, is training related to the increasing power of China military in Southeast Asia? I mean, you do this training like because it's realistic. So we are facing war, we are facing something because like the political constellation in this era, like the China military power increasing in Southeast Asia, and also we have some problems related to the South China Sea conflict. It's been 3 decades and it has not been resolved until now, and China still claims some territory, and the countries, including Indonesia, Vietnamese, and Malaysia and Brunei, they claim the territory that China doesn't want to acknowledge. Even we already go to the international court. So I was wondering, is training related to the current situation? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. And at our level, at the Joint Readiness Training Center, at the National Training Center, the focus for the adversary enemy situation is really the peer competitor capabilities that the United States might be asked to defend against or to help our partners around the world. And so it is not directly related to China. It's not directly related to Russia or anyone else, but we do understand their capabilities, and those capabilities that are as close to the United States capabilities that will make it very difficult for us. Those are the capabilities that the fictitious adversary scenario is. They use those capabilities to create the fictitious adversary scenario that we use so that it is the most difficult problem that we would have as a United States Army or our partners would have anywhere around the world. So I hopefully that answers your question.
Okay. The other question, the Army fighting doctrine was based on mass and mobility. Does it still relevant to the current situation? Because we are in the information technology era that we don't have borders anymore. You can shoot, you can do war without you are going to the destination country. So does this doctrine change, or that's my question. Thank you.
Thank you, and I hope I understand, but I think I do, because everything we do now, as you say, their information doesn't have any borders. You can communicate around the world instantaneously, and so we incorporate a scenario here at the Joint Readiness Training Center that takes that into account, and so the brigade commander and his team is challenged by having to conduct engagements with the civil authorities from our fictitious host nation, the civil military. The public affairs unit for the brigade has specific requirements that they are communicating, so that we are communicating with the host nation. We're communicating with the U.S. population back home. So all of the information environment challenges we try to replicate. That it's not as, it's not as realistic as it is in the world, because in the world, there's political implications, there's strategic implications. All of those are much more intense than they are here. But we do challenge ourselves so that we can all get better. Sometimes in the military, we have not been great at communicating what we're doing or why we're doing it in the public arena. So we do use this opportunity to try to do that better. But the United States military, along with our partners, continues to learn, continues to think about all of the capabilities that we need to be effective in the information domain, and to increase our proficiency at all of those. I hope that gets to your question.
Yeah, okay. And how about the new strategy in your training? For example, in the past, you have like tank destroyer during the World War. So maybe for right now, what kind of new strategy you provide for the training center?
Thank you. So here at the newest capabilities that we're employing here, one of the best ones is our new improved night vision goggles. We have just been fielded those night vision goggles. Right before we came here, the 2nd Brigade was issued those night vision goggles, and they are pretty impressive. I will have to say, I was able to use them the other night. As Chris was earlier mentioned, a air assault that they conducted with our Indonesian company. But our night vision goggles are not only improved in our ability to see just with the normal optics you would have in a night vision goggle, but it also has a thermal setting, so you can see heat signatures in several different methods. And so those have proved to be a significant capability improvement, have allowed us to see our adversaries moving at night before they are able to see us. And surprise is always a great principle to have the advantage of when you're operating against any adversary. So that is one of the ones that is that is the main new capability that we are using here.
So you just use this night Google Vision, or right this year, or in
No,
how long have you?
We just got those fielded to the 2nd Brigade team about a month before we came here, so it's brand new.
Okay, thank you, General. I still have questions, but I will ask later.
All right.
I'd like to ask Chris and maybe Lieutenant Raditya, can you describe the toughest day that you ever experienced? I mean, during the training. I mean, only what so I can, And maybe for Lieutenant Raditya, additional question: how did TNI? I mean, how TNI Angkatan Darat contribute to this exercise? I mean, as the general says, every army have their own strength and weakness. So the differences, can contribute to each other. I would like to know your opinion on what kind of things TNI AD could contribute in this training, and of course the story of the toughest days during the training.
Yes, ma'am. So our toughest day. So a few nights ago, we had to defend our position. Our Lieutenant Raditya and myself and our team in the company, we have to defend for the whole night, and we have already been up for roughly 36 hours. So to stay awake on the line using some of the older night division devices that we have, not the new ones that General Gerard was explaining, but to look through those nods and be disciplined to stay awake on the line the whole night and fight the enemy as they approached us, and to also look at the obstacle on the road that was part of our job or our objective, was very difficult. Everybody stayed awake. We were able to make contact with the enemy, but by 05 or 06 that morning, we were happy that the sun had came up and we had defeated the enemy, but we were all tired, hungry, and ready for that nap.
Wow, very nice. And thank you very much, guys. And maybe Aditya.
Okay, thanks. Selamat pagi, Mbak Etna. Pagi, Mbak Ica. Selamat pagi Amerika. Selamat malam Indonesia.
Selamat.
Firstly, thanks to Major General Gerard for everything you have given to the Indonesian contingent, Indonesian Army, and then the 25th Division, and also 2nd IBCT and 127 Wolfhounds. The end already treat us very well. You treat us, it's like you treat Indonesian company, Indonesian Army, it's like your original unit, means your organic units. And then I become the company commander, have one company, and then we can engage, or we can conduct training together as friends, and also as same units, as a Wolfhounds also. So I really thanks to Major General Gerard for this good change that's given to the Indonesian Army. And then the next things I want to talk is about the training. This is the biggest training I ever joined. Even in Indonesia, I always join the biggest one, like on top, and then it's like a Garuda Shield in Indonesia, and PPRC. That's the biggest training in Indonesia. But this is the only one change, and maybe the first time for the Indonesia, and specifically the first time for the Indonesian Army to have joined with the GRTC. The stories stop, I think, because the so long time we are not joined the GRTC, and then this is the stories will start. The first company from Indonesia, and then TN, our Indonesian Army joined with the Joint Training Center. That's the biggest training, I think, in U.S. Army for the U.S. Army. And then that's the real combat situations and massive training that Major General Gerard already said. Every single job in the GRTC is like my soldiers, and also me as a company commander and other officers really trained very well. And then we already trained by the different type of the jobs, or maybe of the works, of the types. So even that's soldiers, enlist one, like prajurit kalau di Indonesia, like enlist and NCO, that's the officer. Every single soldier from Indonesia trained very well. We have different cases in the training. That's and also I really appreciate in U.S. Army. They also treat the civilian in the war very good. So even in the war, even we are in the training in the box, they still treat the civilians very well, because the civilians is the person that we should to save it. Even there's a war in this area. This I get, and then I also guided by Captain Chris from SFAB, Security Forces Assistant Brigade from U.S. Army. They also guide us and assist us everywhere, every position. They also accompany me, accompany my company, accompany my soldiers. They have 12 soldiers from 5th SFAB, from the 52 BN. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. Yeah, 52.
No, you're good, Rad.
5213 BN. They very good. They very good in the train, and we also exchange the knowledge, and then we also share everything in the box, in the training area. For example, we face objective in some place, and then I also share with Chris as a company commander, and Chris as a company commander. We also share how the strategy, how the tactics we will fight the objective. So that's all. We only in the tactical level. We are not the strategic level. We are in the tactical level. So we just train all the tactical levels there. And that's already Chris said. We are very tough. The training is very tough. And then maybe a couple days ago, the weather in the Louisiana, exactly in the box, it's about 9 degrees Celsius. Yeah.
Wow.
Can you imagine 9 degrees Celsius? 9 degrees Celsius. That's so cold for the Indonesia. That's so cold. That's all. I hope that my whole soldiers, 100 soldiers in the box, they are still in the training in the box. But I get out from the box for a while to have a teleconference. They still in the box, and they still fight in the 9 degrees Celsius every single morning. And can you imagine, Mbak Etna dan Mbak Ica? Can you imagine we always fight in the 9 degrees Celsius, and usually in Indonesia we just only the weather is approximately 26. No, I think 25 until 27 degrees. Now we fight 9 degrees Celsius. That's but we will try. We will fight. We will fight that weather because we really enjoyed to have training with 25th ID, especially with the 127 Wolfhound. That's the battalion I've been detached for. That's all. Right now.
Yeah, it is very interesting that Captain Chris mentioned about the hand sign things during the exercise. Can you give more stories about what kind of things that the Indonesian Army strength that you bring to the exercise? What kind of contribution in maybe technical or tactical level? Because as Captain Chris said before, he's kind of surprised about the hand sign things, right?
Hand signal.
Hand signal, sorry.
Yeah, at the tactical level, we always discussing. We always share everything that we need it in the box. We need it in the jungle. We need it in the training area. How to fight against the enemy. That we call it Geronimo. The enemies call it Geronimo. Geronimo. That's very good. They did well, the Geronimo, and we also fighting the Geronimo. So The hand signal is a part of many kinds of tactics or maybe of strategy how to fight with the Geronimo. That's only a sign to share to the soldiers that if we give this hand signal, it means we are friends or we stop the movement. Yeah, that's all. Because we cannot make a noise in the jungle. If we make a noise, the Geronimo will find us and they will
Yeah.
engage us.
And
Yes.
because the Indonesian have a long strategic culture in guerrilla warfare, right? I mean, I hope that you can contribute something to the exercise as well.
Yeah, the training area, it seems like in Indonesia. We train in the jungle, in the closed jungle. It's like in Indonesia. That's the difference is only the weather. The weather is so cold. You cannot, we cannot imagine before. That's the weather is so cold. 9 degrees every single morning, and every soldiers feel so cold inside the BV sack, in the BV sacks, like a sleeping bag. Yeah, but we still fighting so tough. Yeah, and then we have a lot of stories with the SFAB, 12 soldiers of the SFAB. They accompany us. Each platoon have 1% or 2% accompany platoon, and then Chris, and then with the other teams also guide us, also accompany me as a company commander, and we have a lot of stories. Yeah, we feel so hungry. We need to sleep. We have
36 hours not sleep, yeah.
Yeah, that's common in a training. That's common happen in the training, I think. Yeah,
Common.
yeah, that's common in the training. Yeah, because we need to fight. We need to engage the enemy, the objective at the time that they not stand by. I mean, they're not ready to fight. So we just fight them in the time that the time that we should to take a rest, but we're still fighting. That's all we need.
General, I mean, maybe this is my last question. How do you put this training among other U.S. Army training? I mean, as far as I know, the U.S. Army go to this center before they go abroad or some, but maybe I'm wrong. I mean, can you tell us how do you put this training among other, the U.S. Army training?
Yes, thank you for your question. And this is a vacation event for a Army brigade. So the 2nd Brigade, the Warrior Brigade, they have been on a training path to build readiness, to get more proficient at all of the tasks that we ask an Army brigade to do. And so they have prepared over time, over the last year or so, to come to Joint Readiness Training Center so that when they leave the Joint Readiness Training Center, they are certified. So they are prepared to go anywhere the United States asks them to go, whether if it's any type of contingency, they are now prepared. So this is a certification event. And at the end, right now, the 2nd Brigade is on track to accomplish all of the tasks that we asked them to. And so we anticipate that in another week or so, they will be certified. They will be trained and ready to do anything that the United States asks them to do. And we are, and just like Wilhelm and his company, they will be better trained as well. So we are very, very proud to be able to train alongside our Indonesian partners.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe Icha have.
Okay, I would like to ask you, General. I read that U.S. budget for military has been cut. So with this, how the budget cut has affected the JRTC operability?
Yes, thank you. There are discussions amongst our senior leaders in the U.S. Army because it is a very time-consuming and expensive effort to bring brigades here to the Joint Readiness Training Center, as well as the National Training Center out at Fort Irwin, California. And so there is discussion about how we do this in the future. And so right now that no decisions have been made. It's just discussion right now, and they're drafting concepts. But currently there is no plan to diminish the number of rotations coming to the Joint Readiness Training Center next year. I think I was listening to the leadership here talk, and next year they're still planning on 10 rotations, which is almost a rotation every month. So it's still unknown how the budget cuts will impact the Joint Readiness Training Center. But we are proud that we are able to be here. We're proud that we're able to be here with our Indonesian partners. I think the cooperation between the United States and Indonesia is as strong as it's ever been. Our partnership with the Indonesian Army continues to grow stronger. We not only have a company here with us, but here almost even before we get finished here at Joint Readiness Training Center, we're going to send a platoon to Indonesia, and the Indonesian Army is going to send another platoon to Hawaii, so we can do another exchange throughout the month of November. And so we're looking very forward to hosting them in Hawaii. And I know our soldiers they're heading to Indonesia are very excited about experiencing the training there in Indonesia.
Thank you, General. I'd like to ask to let's call Raditya. Like, how long have you been training in the JRTC? Like for 2 months?
Firstly, my rank is First Lieutenant Pak Ica, Letnan 1, not Letkol. Terlalu tinggi Letkol. First Lieutenant, not Lieutenant Colonel. That's my rank is First Lieutenant, and actually I'm a captain in this training, Captain Raditya. So we already been here since 1 month. A month ago, it's 19th of September, and then we did quarantine times for 2 weeks here for the COVID-19's what we call it, COVID-19's procedure. Yeah, protocol of the COVID-19. And then we already trained for the GRTC, RSOI, reception, staging, and then onward movement. There's already 1 week, and then we conduct the training in the box. It's already 1 week. It's total 2 weeks, and then we should finish a week later for the trainings. So it's about 3 weeks in this JRTC for the training. That's a lot of training we already trained by the JRTC.
Is it 155%, right?
Yeah, 125 persons, 101% for the company that do the training in the field, in the training area, and then 24% as a staff. That's General Andika, the Chief of Army, said for check the knowledge from the GRTCs. So they bring also the staff. 125 all the personnel, but 101% only for the company. 24 for the staff.
So, Raditya, you've been there for more than 1 month. What have you learned with your team from the U.S. Army so far? You must have got a lot. You can share with us. Thank you.
We learned so much from the U.S. Army, especially from the 25th ID. That I already said before. They treat us very good. They're very kind. And then the BN also, the BN commander also treat me as a company commander. His company commander, I mean. He's really company commander. And then we got many kind of tribes. Yet I already said to Mbak Etna, it's kind of real combat situations that a big war happened in the field, in the field training area. That's a big war that comprise a lot of person. It's about 5,000 person in the training area. And then the best I get from the U.S. Army is they have good command and control. They have also good technologies. They also do the training very well, very massive. Even it's about 5,000 person in the field, but the training move or the training is very good and then moves very smoothly in every single period. Battle period 1, battle period 2, and then the battle period 3. The training is very good. We should learn how to conduct the biggest training like this. So that's all we get from the U.S. Army. And also I get from Chris that every single situations, every single condition in every vicinity or every circumstances, we should to, I mean, it's like I control every soldiers in the field, because if we get lost for the communications, we need command control from the leaders, even it's squad leaders, platoon leaders, or company leaders. Yeah, I think we have same doctrine. We really have similar, not same, but similar doctrine, similar tactics and strategies with the U.S. Army. That's all. I already did the training about 2 weeks. We find a lot of similar tactics and doctrines in here.
Okay, thank you.
So I thank both of you. I have unfortunately I have some other engagements and I need to keep moving here. But I thank both of you. First, I'll pass it to Wilhelm, see if he's got any closing comments, and then Chris, and then I'll make some closing comments. So Wilhelm, back to you. Hey, Rad, any final closing comments?
So for me, the closing comment is I really thanks for the GRTC and also the 25th ID Infantry Division. That's you as a company general, sir. You already treat us very well, and also GRTC already treat the Indonesian Army very well. They give us very good facilities. They give us very good kind of lodging, food, everything you have given us very good. That we really thanks to you, and I hope this is not the last for us or for the Indonesia to have good relationship. As the General Andika, Chief of Army, said that we comes to make a friendship. This is how to military relationship getting higher or getting closer each other between U.S. Army and also Indonesian Army. Even in the other event like Garuda Shield, that's common for the 25th ID soldiers, and also the GRTC, that's the new for the Indonesian soldiers. We really thanks to the 25th ID and also GRTC. We really appreciate, sir. That's all, sir.
Thank you very much. Chris.
Yes, sir. I'll keep it short. I know you have to go. But I would just like to thank the TNI AD for allowing us to train in Indonesia and being great host. It's been a pleasure and honor to work with First Lieutenant Raditya and his company there, as well as here at JRTC. We're going to continue to fight and train and get better every day. And the next time I get back to Indonesia, I'm going to ensure to have some more soto ayam and nasi goreng. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And so I also appreciate, first of all, both of your time this morning, both of your questions. Hopefully you appreciate better all that we're doing here at the Joint Readiness Training Center. But as I said earlier, I know that we are benefiting from our partnerships with the Indonesian Army here, and I hope they are benefiting from us. We recently, the United States recently marked about 70 years of cooperation with the the country of Indonesia, and we look forward to the next 70. And it is experiences like this one here at the Joint Readiness Training Center that will make both of us prepared for whatever security operations that our nations ask us to be involved in the future. So thank you again, both, very much.
Lieutenant Aditi, may I have your phone number or contact?
Oke, Mbak Etna.
Yes.
081